Right, hello everyone, we're here again, messing around with the surveyor, making some changes. And today's change, it's not about the speakers, it's about the TV. So some of the folks in a Facebook page that I'm on, it's called Surveyor Legend 19 BHLE group. Some of them bought a 2021, and they're saying that their 2021 did not have a AV port, like the one you see here. And the problem with that is that, you know, if you have a stereo, you can't run the audio through the stereo. And of course, my stuff is just dangling because I've been messing with it. But the reason I'm making this video is just to show you guys that you can run a wire through the roof. And this is just me trying to figure out what the best way of doing that would have been, even though I don't have to because I have this going already. But my plan is the reason I'm doing this is because I plan to put this DVD player, which I had put over there in the storage area. And I had this 12-volt splitter that was running up here to power both the TV and the DVD player. I moved it I plan on putting it here in this storage area. And two things needed to happen. One of them was to run a wiretap and supply the DVD player, because it runs off of 12 volt. So I just went ahead and tapped the existing wires and ran a fuse and to this 12 volt lighter connector. And I also bought this wire from Amazon so that this is an LG DVD player, can run off of 12 volt. And then, you know, now this unit's powered, this connector's powered here, and now you get power, and now the DVD player works. But the problem is that now I need to run an HDMI wire. And it's going to be a little weird because I don't think this has an HDMI in. I think the HDMI in port is in the front. I think there's one in the back, but I'm not sure if it's just in or out, or if it even matters for HDMI. I don't think it does. But the plan is to run, and I've done it already, to run an HDMI wire from here to here into this cabinet, from the speaker hole to the cabinet, and then run the other side of the wire from the speaker hole to this hole here, and then put an HDMI and an audio faceplate there, which I already have, and I'll show you in a bit. But the first step has already been done. I went and snaked the HDMI wire using this fish tape, and I ran it into this cavity, and I kind of got lucky. There you can see it. It's out now. That's one side of the wire that I ran. I taped it to the fish tape, and now I am going to remove it. So a consideration. What's that thing over there? Is that sunlight? I hope not. Well, that's a little concerning. I think it is sunlight, but that's neither here nor there for now. The main consideration here is that there is a truss that runs right here, or yeah, it must be right here, I guess. And the truss, if you were to just snake the tape through this side here, you wouldn't have access to here because the truss runs through here. And once you take this area apart, you'll see that the truss is right there. I mean, you can kind of see it where the stapled metal is there, and it runs a span of this area here. So what you need to do when you snake your wire is you have to run it through the truss first on the inside, and you can't see it here because all the bat's in the way. Or let's see if we can. Oh, I guess you can. So there's a truss, And what you want to do is you want to get through one of those cavities in the truss, or one of those openings in the truss, and then kind of snake your fish tape, you know, curve it so that it curves parallel to the truss and ends up in this hole around here. And what'll happen is there's a bundle of wires that's right there, and I don't think I can get in there for you, unfortunately, but there's a bundle of wires, and it kind of turns at a 90-degree to the left from here toward the slide. And when you push your wire through, your HDMI cable or whatever wire you decide will bump into that. So you'll have to, you know, dig your hand around there along the truss and feel around to see where the head of the HDMI wire is, and then just pull it out. So the second part of this now will be to try to snake the other side of the HDMI wire, the other end that's right here, and to try to somehow make it come here. Now the easiest way would have been to do this would have been to take off the this here, because the antenna wire runs over here toward the stereo system, and it's this I think it's one of these wires. It's either one of these gray wires, or they split. You see one of these goes back over there, and I think this is the one that goes to the TV. Theoretically, what you could do is you could just take the wire that's over there on that end, pull it out a little bit, then attach whatever wire you want to end up over there and just pull it. Or actually, before you do that, attach the wire that you want over there and the piece of fish tape, and then just pull them both over toward this cabinet here. Well, actually, no, you'd probably have to go through the speaker again, because the truss is in the way. If you go through here, the truss is in the way. You'd have to go through the speaker, get it out through the speaker, and then send it over that cavity. But I think at this point I'm just ranting. I'm kind of losing my place. But so we're gonna run one wire, and we'll run the other end over there. Let's see how lucky I get. All right, so here's part 2, and this was almost as hard as the first part. Actually, it was a little harder than the first part, and the reason being is that you see all this had to come down, and it didn't really have to come down, but I pulled it down because I was wanting to see what was going on, and obviously you can't see much, but you know, you still needed it. There it is now. I was able to get it through. So what happened here, points of consideration, is that there's another truss, and you can feel around for it. It's right here somewhere, right here, and you can feel through it. You can feel for it here when you go through the power 12 volt. Actually, you can see it right there. You can see the stapled wood. And you have to remember, these trusses have big gaps in the middle of them. So what that means is that you have to be very skillful. Well, I'll say skillful, but basically lucky. You know, you have to kind of angle your fish wire a little bit, tilt it around, and try to get it through. There's a gap around here somewhere. Well, in the truss, there's a gap every so often. And you just keep poking it through there, poking it through there, poking it through there. And once you feel that the fish tape has some give, or got through it, it's pretty easy. You just have to remember, again, there's another truss that goes back here behind the power outlet. And I had to undo the power outlet. It comes down pretty easy. But, excuse the plane. But, what happens is when you push the fish tape, you get it through that first truss. It'll eventually hit the second truss here, and it'll try to make its way down this corner. I was able to hear it as I was scraping along the bottom of the top of the roof, And so I thought it was around here and around the electrical, around the antenna and all that, but it wasn't. It ended up all the way back here. And you see here's where it came out. And it hit that truss there, and I was able to pull it out after that. So now the next part is to move that wire this way because I want it here. And again, as I mentioned, we're going to put the little, where did I put it? Oh, the little power plate, or the this thing has an HDMI connector and the 3 RCA jacks, and those just connect back there. And unfortunately, I mean, I was only able to find a white cover. I'm not going to match the black one that's there currently, unfortunately, and I can't remove it. And it was too cheap to buy the black one. I mean, this one was like $12 and the black one was like 20 some dollars. So I don't care. We'll go with white. So the next part's just going to be, you know, connecting everything up, buttoning everything up, and then seeing if the DVD player works through the stereo, because I'm not sure, but we'll see. Okay, so here is everything all buttoned up. As you can see, the Blu-ray player's here. We'll get into why that's plugged in that way in a second. And here's the connector, the new connector, HDMI connection, and the 2 audio connections. And as you can see, the image on this thing is pretty good, actually. I don't know if I'll get sued for showing this. I don't think so, but hopefully not. But there you go. Pretty clear image from the HDMI. And yeah, let's turn on the sound so you can hear it. So right now it's muted. And we have the remote here. We'll take it off of mute. How do you do that? I don't know. Oh, there.
Cruise? Well, if we told you that, it wouldn't be magic now, would it? Disney Cruise Line.
The audio comes in pretty good. Speakers are terrible, but you know, those can always be upgraded to something that's directional. And so yeah, so that's pretty much it. So just to talk to you about some important points. This is like this because I was trying to see if I could run the cable there before. So I was just experimenting. But 2 points you need to be, or a few points you need to be aware of. There's not a lot of space behind here, and this is sticking out because of that. What I need to do at some point is find some right angle connectors that can go in the back for the audio and the HDMI, because right now everything's hitting the plywood decking on the ceiling or the roof. So it's sticking out like that, but I mean, it still works. It's okay for now. I just figured I'd button it up and order that stuff later, just to make it more neat. And be aware, if you have this, if you have a Surveyor Legend 19 BHLE, your audio outputs are actually right there. It's called Line Out Mini. And that, you're actually, your TV comes with it. Your TV comes with an adapter. And as you can see, it's right here. It's in the manual with a little plastic bag and everything. I didn't realize it was there. I thought I looked for it and I didn't find it the first time around. But all you would need to do there is just connect this part to the TV, connect these parts to the wires that are coming down already, if you already have the AV plate. If you don't have the AV plate, then just make sure to connect some male RCA connectors here and run them up there and you'll have sound. The other issue is with the stereo, and I figured I'd show you this without the cover plate on. You need to, if you want to take the stereo out, you need to take the cover plate off. It just snaps off, and undo these 4 screws. There's 4 wood screws. But so the Blu-ray player is going to live here. The only problem is that this stereo has 2 HDMI ports. One of them is in the back and one of them is in the front. So unfortunately, I wish there was another one in the back so that we could kind of hide this HDMI wire and not have to do it, not have to run it to the front of the unit. But unfortunately, this stereo is designed this way. So in order to be able to watch the Blu-ray movies, you're going to have to run the HDMI wire to the front here. And there's no way of getting around that I can think of at the moment. So, you know, it's going to be a minor inconvenience. Unfortunately, you know, I wish this was a cleaner install, but I mean, this is as good as it's going to get right now. And here's the power wire. I mean, I could have hid that inside this little cubby. Now that you see the cubby's up, there's a little gap there where the wire runs through. I could have left it in there, but I mean, you never know when you have to run this off of 120. I mean, if you're at a place with hookups, you can just run it off of the battery if you wanted to. But I mean, there's really no point. You can just connect the 110 power source and run it that way. And there's like a outlet here. I mean, it won't be the prettiest, but you can do it. And I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or comments, you know, make sure to leave them in the comment section and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And if you guys can think of anything else that I can do to improve this situation here, I mean, I'd be more than happy to hear it. You know, maybe I'm looking at things a little differently and can actually clean this up a little bit more and not have to run the HDMI connection on the front. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully some of you find this useful. And you know, don't be scared, just try it and see what happens. Take care.